This level of quiet is so unnatural.
Wow, it is so unnatural. I didn't know when I could start.
All right. Buckle up.
You buckle up.
Yeah, you buckle up, Mr. Pettigo.
I knew what I was getting into. Real Estate for Real. I'm Eric Pettigo. I have got a cast of characters with me today for this roundtable. Janet Gogarty, Logan Frazier, Keki Aria, making your third appearance
Yes,
on the podcast.
you must like me.
I mean, you're one of my favorites. You're one of my
Girl.
favorites. So, has everybody listened to at least one of the roundtable episodes?
Yes.
Yes.
So you know kind of how this goes.
Yeah.
All right. So I've got some topics to go over, and I kept them really mild and non-controversial so that Mike Busher would not freak out.
I think he's outside at
I
the
was
door.
given guidelines.
So I've got, Logan, you and I had a conversation yesterday at the lunch. We went to about some issues requesting the cooperation from listing agents.
Yep.
So super non-controversial there. We'll get into that. Dual agency, I thought it'd be fun to talk about.
Oh, I enjoy that.
Very lighthearted, mild stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. No lawsuits there.
Yeah. And then a few other things. Janet, let's get you a little bit closer.
Okay,
There
I'll
you
get a
are.
little closer.
There you are. All right. I'm scared. Like I should have been recording the 10 minutes leading up to
Yes, that was good.
me hitting record. It should have been part of this, but it's good that we all keep our jobs, I think, is the most important thing. So,
Yeah, nobody needs to get fired today.
no.
Not today.
No. Except Keki's clients.
Yes.
What happens?
I probably shouldn't have said that. Anyhow,
I don't care.
I want to, Logan, you and I were talking. This is something that we've run into, I think, a lot. And I know I have with other agents when we write an offer as a buyer's agent and we request our compensation from the seller as the buyer's agent, not knowing whatever agreement they have in place. As when you go to get a listing, you say, all right, here's the commission I'm going to charge as a listing agent. If you want to offer up a co-op, you fill that out too. But it doesn't mean that a buyer's agent can't come through and with the offer request whatever they want to request.
Right.
It's part of the offer. And so you've gotten a little pushback on that, as have I, as I'm sure both of you.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
right? Where
It's part of the negotiations now.
it is.
Yeah. So prior to everything changing last August, it was not part of the negotiations. I mean, we never used it necessarily.
No.
Yeah, we never had to do that.
Right. It wasn't even discussed. And now I've been asked to lower my commission a few times with multiple offer situations. Yeah. I have not gotten pushback when it comes to agents,
From
with
the
my
listing
offer,
agent.
From the listing agent.
Mm-hmm. See, I have.
Yeah, I have.
See, I'll tell you, I am as a listing agent, I fight for the other agent. I mean, I really do. I mean, when my clients tell them, one, they ask me to lower my commission, that's not happening. If they ask me to lower, we are not going to pay the buyer's agent. I fight hard.
Yeah.
And I'm like, let's negotiate the price. Why don't you go out down on the price? Because the moment they say, we'll pay you less, we are okay with the price, but we'll pay the agent less, I say, no, let's do the opposite. Let's pay the agent the full amount. Let's, go back with a lower offer. So I fight hard for the other agent, no matter who that agent is, because I hope they are doing the same for me. And I do think I will give listing agent, I think all listing agents, most listing agents are doing that.
Yeah.
I feel like listing agents are fighting.
Yeah.
Well, the reason I brought it up because I feel like there's some clarity that kind of needs to happen where as a listing agent, because this is what I've run into, where I've made the offer and I've requested what I request. And as a general rule, we don't say those specific numbers on here.
Right.
We
Correct.
can do, okay. So I request what I request. And then the listing agent will call me and say, well, we accept your offer. However, our agreement, that we have to list the house is only for X amount. Therefore, we're only offering this, which is less than what I asked as a buyer's agent. And my response is always, like you said, Janet, it's part of the offer.
Right.
So this is the offer. Along with this offer is my request. So if your seller is not going to pay that, then counter.
Yeah.
Because you didn't accept my offer.
Because
then
the offer changes.
Right.
Yeah, like what
Yeah.
Ketke was saying. Exactly.
Yeah.
It can change the numbers for the counter offer, leaving the X number the
Yeah,
same.
this way or that
right,
way.
this way or that way.
And I've had to tell the agents, take this to your seller, because I don't think that a lot of them are.
Yeah.
I think they're just saying, no, this is our agreement.
Yeah, they don't get it.
And I say, no, take it to your seller.
Doesn't matter, yeah.
Present it with the offer. See what the seller says. But you just telling me, no, I'm not paying you that much.
Yeah.
It's not up to you.
Yeah.
It's up to your seller.
Have any of you ran into buyers paying
Yes.
or matching, not matching, but like kind of coming up to the number? You have come up to that?
Yeah. And same thing. And I say, you can make an offer and then they can be like, well, yeah, we accept the offer. We're not paying the agent. And that happens. And then, the buyer say, okay, I'll pay you because they want me in it, or we'll pay half and half or
Right.
something.
Okay.
So I think buyers are considerate, but the whole thing goes to when you're signing that buyer's agreement, how you explain it to them at that time. So they expect that.
Yeah.
It doesn't come as a shock to
No.
them because you've explained to them that might happen. 90% of the time it will not happen. The seller will pay my commission. But these are the scenarios that can happen, and what are you going to do?
Right.
So whatever conversation. So that buyer's agreement, sitting down and explaining them, that becomes super important, because then at this time they're like, yeah, you kind of told us that might happen.
Yeah, and to me, I always say the same thing. It's on us as listing agents to communicate with our sellers and make sure that their focus is always on what's going in their pocket. Here's the offer. Here's what you're walking away with.
Right. Here's the bottom number.
Don't
Like,
get hung up on percentages.
Yep.
Don't get hung up on concessions for closing costs. Don't get hung up on that stuff. Here's what you're putting in your pocket. If that number doesn't work for you, then we'll counter. But if that's the thing, because it's so easy. People focus on, but I don't want to do this amount of this percentage. I want to do that percentage.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter what's going in your pocket. Let's counter. Forget about this.
Right.
Well, I had a situation one time where a friend was going to list their home for sale by owner. And
How dare they?
I know. And I smiled as I said, okay, I mean, that's absolutely your choice. I said, if you don't mind me asking, what are you listing your home for? They stated the number. And I said, okay, well, such percentage of that would, cover a buyer's agent and my percentage, my commission. If I told you I could sell your home covering that number, plus what you said you were going to list it at, and I'll get you a little bonus on top of that, what would you say? And they said, well, how would you do that? And I said, just hold my beer.
Yeah.
Hold my beer. Yeah, and it worked.
Yeah.
I knew I could
Yeah.
because their number wasn't right.
Yeah.
But they don't know as for sale by owners what the correct listing number is and what has happened, with inflation and everything in our market.
Well, you were lucky though. Most people are for sale by owners.
Way high.
Way
Are
high.
way, they're delusional in the other direction
Yeah,
mostly.
that was
So,
that was
yeah, that
right
was
as
good.
things were kind of spiking.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, the commission is it seems like we're making millions and millions of dollars, but after the splits and after the taxes and after the fees and after everything, I mean that number. And I show my son who's 18 years old because he's hung up on percentages. He's hung up on numbers.
Yeah.
And I'm like, come here, little boy. Let me show you because these numbers, they go down really fast, you know, because we have to pay our taxes. We have to pay our fees.
We have to pay assistants. We have to pay
pay
office fees.
fees.
I mean,
I mean,
our expenses are really
huge.
high.
Yeah.
Like yearly expenses are ridiculous.
Yeah, it truly is.
So you brought up for sale by owners and how they miss on price, and they miss high and they miss low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Julie Davis was on here a few weeks ago talking about the same thing, and she pointed out something that I've talked about a lot too, because I've had friends, same exact scenario, where they want to list their house by owner. I said, okay, how much are you going to list it for? And the perception is for sale by owners are always asking way too much, because that does happen a lot.
Yeah.
But there are so many who are unaware
don't
of the
know,
market
yeah.
and
Yeah.
miss
Yep.
the mark. And then they're excited because they sell it quick. We're like, I sold it in 2 weeks on my own. Well, great. You left $30,000 on the table because
Yeah.
you undervalued your house because you don't know, and also you missed all of these
Oh,
buyers.
the pool of buyers. That's
Yeah.
the
Or the
thing.
times.
Well, and-
there's been so many times where I'll walk.
Oh, hey,
in-
hey, Logan.
Hey, sorry. I feel like I should probably talk now.
Jump in.
No,
buddy.
there's so many times you walk and I'll have clients that just have a for sale by owner sign in their yard.
Yeah.
Not on Zillow, not on Facebook, not on anything.
Yeah.
I'm like, how did you expect to get a buyer?
Yeah.
Well, we have a sign in the yard.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
I just asked them, so, okay, what are you going to do when you get multiple offers with escalation
Right.
clauses and appraisal gaps? And how do you, what is that? I said, yeah, you need an agent
Yeah.
if you don't know what that is.
Yeah.
I saw a stat the other day. I saw a number because I'm always researching this stuff because nowadays, because what's out there that everybody does know is seller's market.
Right.
And so I think when people hear that, they think seller's market, well, I can just sell. And you can sell. However, the stat that I saw said that a house listed with a realtor sells on average 18 days faster. I thought that would be a larger number, but 18 days faster is still, just a shade under 3 weeks. But here's the best part. On average, for 6 to 10% higher than for sale by owner properties.
Well,
Yeah.
there's your commission.
Yeah, there's your commission.
There it is.
So faster. So you're saving a month worth of holding costs for owning
Yeah.
the property, and you're making up at least, on average, depending on what agent you find to sell your house, at least your listing commission, probably more.
Yeah, that's what she said. I'll get you what you
Yeah.
want, my
Plus.
fee, the other agent's fee, and bonus.
Yeah. So it's and it doesn't matter if I clip some of this and put it on TikTok, Janet.
Yeah. Oh, they'll
People
they'll
will
burn you
come
up.
after.
Yeah. I love the comment when you did a TikTok about your striped shirt.
You like that one?
Yeah. I
I
was
didn't
like,
see that one.
The horizontal stripes.
I didn't see that one.
they burned him up. Over that. I was like, really?
That was so funny.
The things people get comments on. I mean, they upset
the
them.
hate. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
fun to watch.
Well, I love TikTok, and I spend too much. I mean, I make content out of it. It's real estate stuff,
Right.
and I think it's important. But everything I put out there, I get it's guaranteed. You guys are scam artists and you're thieves, and nobody needs to
yeah.
pay you, and nobody needs
yeah.
agents anymore, and this and that. But one guy just commented, "Nice horizontal stripes, big boy." Spelled B-O-I. Oh my god, it was so funny.
boy.
Yeah, it was so funny. When the rest of them, I skip right over. Yeah, dummy, troll, dummy, and then that one, I was like, and so I gave him the respect that he deserved.
Yeah, you
for
should.
Yeah,
I
for
mean,
a
he
nice
took the
creative
time.
insult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got hired once because she liked my shoes. I think she heard what she's like. I don't know if I totally agree with everything you're saying, but you have nice shoes, so you're hired. I'm like,
Hey, we'll take
whatever
it.
works.
Yep.
Logan, you and I were talking before we got on here about how we dress
Yeah.
as realtors.
Yeah.
Right? And because you and I, a little more casual.
So are most guys.
For-
Most men, I think, are
Casual.
casual.
A
Very
little more
few.
casual.
Yeah.
And- Go
I
ahead.
don't know. I just feel like it makes the client feel a little more comfortable too.
Mm-hmm.
I've had multiple people comment on that. Like, we've worked with a realtor before. Why are they in a suit and tie? We're looking at houses on a Sunday at 3:00 when we just got done working in the yard, and
Right.
they're in a suit and tie coming to show you stuff. So
Right.
they feel a lot more comfortable, I think.
I think it's a bit of an antiquated thing.
Yeah.
And I told you when I first started here, every day I showed up shirt and tie, slack shirt and tie. That was I
That was a
trying
uniform.
I was trying to dress the part, and it took me a little while to get kind of comfortable in the role. And And then I started dressing
Yeah.
like you see now with my horizontal stripe
Yeah. Boy.
and my shorts, boy.
I think it depends on your client pool. I mean,
I was gonna
Yeah.
say it
Yeah.
depends upon your, like, I dress up most days, not
Yeah.
to say I haven't showed on a Saturday afternoon in shorts and flip flops, like I'll do that too, but which they understand that it was a Sunday afternoon, but mostly I'm dressed well. And it depends on what kind of houses you're showing, where you're showing houses, and you know, if you have to walk 3 acres, you know,
Yeah.
I'm in my heels and I'll be very out of place, and that's I think I've been fired once too because, you know, I was borrowing a car from a friend,
Yeah,
which
you
was a
showed up in
nice,
a nice
car,
car.
and with my high heels, and they looked at me and they're like, "Oh no,
no.
we are buying a $50,000 house," and I'm
Right.
like, "It's
Right.
okay, it's not my car. I'm poor. I have no money. It's just $15 heels."
yeah.
I got him a TJ Maxx. I swear.
Yeah, I would say 70% of my clients are first-time home buyers, though. So you know, it feels a little more, you know, quarter zip and
Yeah.
khaki shorts are going to.
So you're trying to fit in. See, I'm not
Right.
trying to fit in
It's
with
a little
them.
less
Yeah.
intimidating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It depends. So I'm not trying to fit in with them. I am trying to look like the expert, and
Right.
so I think everybody has their own take on it.
Right.
Do you think that the expectations for like attire are a little bit different
Yes,
for women than men?
absolutely. Absolutely. I think you can any day get away with it. If I showed up like this every single day, no. I think it's totally different.
Well, and I think we go back to the clients that we're working with, and we get to know their personalities and what their expectations are. And, you know, there's definitely clients where I'm dressed up every single time, no matter what. And then there's others that, you know, I can go out in my jean shorts and t-shirt and show my house. I typically definitely try to play, I dress the part because I want to be respected, and I think you have to.
Do come across. I also feel it's an image that you create. It's not about
Yeah.
that particular client. It's not about that particular house. I think everybody always tells me, because I don't wear makeup much and I don't dress up every day, but everybody thinks I do every day. Oh my gosh, you're always dressed so nice. And I'm like, no, I was wearing. So I think I'm okay to have that image. I'd rather have the image that I dress nice than,
Yeah,
oh,
I
she's
get that.
always shabby. So
Yeah.
it's the whatever image you want to create.
Yeah.
I have a general rule because I worked manual labor before this. I got dirty for a living. When I jumped, and that was seriously, that's what I did. I wallowed around in dirt all day. That was my job. And so when I transitioned to real estate, you know, I've never been like a dress up kind of a person. But my general rule now is the first time I meet a client, I've got a collar on of some sort.
Yeah.
Whether it's a polo shirt or something. I don't
Yeah.
show up in a Nike t-shirt and a hat
No.
and shorts. That's the second time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Which, honestly.
I think we all make that extra effort the first time. I do wear makeup the first time.
Last year I had that flip house going on, and any extra time I had, I was there. So when clients would text about a house and wanted to go look at it, I'm like, I'm swimming in paint right now.
Yeah.
But if this is the only time you can go, I can go.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
think
you
that-
have to do
right.
that. I've showed up in elaborate Indian clothes when
Yeah.
I'm going to like a big Indian event in saris and sequins and all of that, and we want to see this house at 6:30. I'm like, okay.
Here we go.
But I'm about to make an entrance.
But yeah, that's not every day.
Yeah.
I feel like it's, for the longest time, it was a, you know, and I've read this before, you project success. You want to
Yeah.
have a nice car, have nice clothes. It shows people that you are successful at what you do, and then they feel more comfortable putting this, you know, in your hands because, oh, you're obviously a successful agent.
Right.
But there's a line between that
Yes.
and being a
You can get fired.
well,
Yeah.
right. And being a relatable human, right?
Yeah.
Because when you go to meet people and you're just like, a lot of times people have their guard up.
Yeah.
I mean, we all encounter that. People have their guard up. You're in sales, keep a safe distance.
That first encounter, right?
And once you can kind of break that down and show them, like, we're just people making a living. Like, I'm,
Yeah.
you know, Logan, I was just painting my house, and I'm here now to show you this house, but I've got some jeans on and some paints, and it's, you know,
It
it's,
does. I'll tell you, I have seen that huge change in perception firsthand, from driving a van to not having that much money to when I could afford a more decent car, and when I could afford a nice bag. The amount of trust people put in you is, I saw a drastic change in it. And people who didn't trust me earlier, I do business the exact same way.
Right.
And of course, I'm older, I know
More
a little more, but
experience.
More knowledgeable in the business.
but that's not why they're coming. They just see, oh, she
Little more
must be
success.
successful.
Yeah.
She must be, and I'm all over Facebook posting every house that I've sold. So that trust it's very sad. I mean, it doesn't make me happy that I have to do this for people to trust me.
Right.
I have to spend money on expensive things for people to trust me. That's a very sad thing.
It's an image.
But, unfortunately, that's kind of what happened.
Yeah. I've been told so many times in my career, like, oh, well, you don't look like a realtor.
Yeah.
Like, I've literally been told that
Really?
a lot.
Oh,
Yeah.
me too.
And then I go, well,
Well, you look like you're 12.
and then,
No, it was just last week I was showing the house and the neighbor
I
comes
love
out.
him. He's
Oh,
What are you guys
my
doing? I said,
God.
we're looking at the house.
Yeah.
He said, well, do you have a realtor? I said,
that's
me.
me.
That's me.
But I get Logan and Justin, I think, is another young
Yes.
realtor. Sometimes I get calls from people who are working with them, and they call me like, I have this really young agent, and my first thing is, never hold that against anyone.
That age.
I said, we were all young, we were all starting out. I said, what I knew at 32, he knew at 20, because that's when you started. And I always tell people, just because they look young, they are young, that doesn't mean they are any
Doesn't change
less.
the-
Well, I've had that too, where I go on a buyer appointment, go on a listing appointment.
Where's
and
mom?
then they decide, they say, well, we decided to go with someone with more experience.
Yes.
Then you ask them who.
Yes.
It's just an agent that's 50 that's been doing it for a year.
Yeah.
It's not more experience.
That's
There you
exactly
go.
what I
Yeah,
tell
yeah,
people.
it's-
I had 2 or 3 clients of Justin who called me very recently, and I said, I do not want you to not work. I said, I don't know him personally. He's a very sweet kid, is all I know. I said, I do not want you to leave him for an older,
Right.
Right.
I said, that's
No, I'm
don't
so
hold that.
proud of you, Logan. I really want to give you props. You started when you were 18, right? You were the youngest to have a license.
Yeah.
I think at the real estate
Yeah.
group. And I always brag on you. I
Very
respect
few
you.
success.
You're amazing.
A lot of young kids have come and gone.
Yeah.
I
Sure.
mean, they don't
But
last.
he's got a team.
He's been
You're
here.
the real deal.
Gonna
I
make
mean,
me
it's
blush.
easy to come in.
You are the real deal.
Glad I invited
They
you
come
to
in and they
I'm
leave.
blushing now.
hear about how great you are. No, and
He
Logan's
told
awesome.
us to
And
say all this before.
Yeah.
that's
I
that's
just
why when I
the
started
20
this,
under the
Logan
team.
was one of my first guests because
Yeah.
I wanted to get, and he and I didn't even really know each other, but I wanted to get him on because I was just so impressed with everything
Yeah.
he'd accomplished at such a young age.
Yep.
And that's the perception is you don't look like an agent. Okay, well, talk to me for a little bit.
Yeah.
Do I sound like one? You know, like because
You know what you're doing.
exactly. Like it doesn't matter, and no, I'm not saying you don't want to show up in like basketball shorts and
Right.
like a cutoff.
Oh, yeah. No.
But you know what? Like,
But we do every
Right.
so often.
Yeah.
We do. We have to.
Right.
yeah, but it's,
We have lives.
There's been a shift in our industry of kind of how we are expected to present ourselves, and I have noticed that it's a lot more for the men in the industry
Yeah.
than the
Because
women.
they needed it. The women don't need it. We're already doing it. It's
kind of
you
perfect.
guys.
Yeah.
Look at you. Look at us.
Yeah. I've got a collar.
I got a collar.
Yeah, come on.
Look at
I got shorts.
I
on.
love that.
They're nice shorts, though.
Oh my
They're
God.
nice shorts.
Yeah, they are nice shorts.
Those are nice.
As
He
soon
has a
as the
hat
shorts-
on.
No,
I normally don't do hats at the office,
Well, I had a client yesterday.
Look
who
at
said-
him throwing him
he
under
said-
the bus
but
now.
sometimes I do.
Yesterday, a client of mine said, "Looks like you just got done golfing." That's what a realtor's
You
supposed
do.
to look
Yeah.
like. He said,
Well, you know that. Okay,
You do look like a realtor.
Segue into that. That's kind of funny because I was licensed. I got licensed in 2000, and then I had my son in 2006. Ultimately, kind of stepped away in 07 to be a stay-at-home mom. But when I got licensed in 2000, and I was younger at the time and just trying to figure out the industry and being a woman, a little bit different. And I was noticing a lot of the agents were just going golfing.
Yeah.
And it was summertime, you know. And so I went and bought the outfits, I bought the shoes, I bought the clubs, I bought the glove, whatever they sold in the golf aisle, I bought it. And I just showed up at the old course with the boys. And I'm like, well, let's go.
Let's go.
And that's how I built relationships with agents, was golfing and doing that. But no, it is a perception, like we're always golfing, or we're always, and there are golf outings and different things we participate in, and golfing is fun. But I did build relationships, and I wanted to get in with the boys club, and I didn't know how, so I went and golfed.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I
That is
never, like, I can't build relationships that way at all.
I'm not very good at golf.
Yeah, but you don't have to be. You just got to hang out, and
Yeah.
they chit-chat.
But I want to say what you said. It's very different industry for men and women too.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's not just about dressing up. It's a completely different ball game. But that's
Well, you can elaborate a little bit if you want. That's all right. We got a little bit of time. You guys don't have to be at your meeting for another 25 minutes. I'm watching the
We're
clock.
good.
I think one, it's trust. A lot of people don't trust women, especially when it comes to commercial. So I think that's and you could be the most stupid guy in the industry, but they'd rather trust you than.
Oh, stupid.
You stupid man.
We quit recording. I
Oh,
want to find out who you think it is.
We'll tell you later.
And unfortunately, which I don't want to say the guys don't, but it's so much about the way we have to be careful when we are working with men, the way we have to dress up when we are showing houses to a husband and a wife. I think about all those things. Is it just a guy going? Is it a husband and wife going? I mean, how I dress up, what culture is he from? Like, how I'm dressing up in the morning depends on all those things. And you have to be so careful you're not only talking to the guy, you have to talk to the woman as much. And when you're you have to be so careful.
I can't imagine having to go over all of that before I just go do my job.
Every day. I think about it every day. You get, not that guys can get hit on, women get hit on. With a client you're trying to show a house to is hitting on you. That's the worst.
That's icky.
Worst situation.
Don't do that, people. Don't hit on your real estate agent.
Leave us
I've
alone.
had
We've got
to-
enough stress in our life.
Yes, I've had to bring a client in the office after spending 3 hours with him, and I just couldn't take it anymore. And I walked into Becky's office. I gave him the file. Here's a guy who wants to buy a $400,000 house, all yours.
Oof.
I said, I walked out. I couldn't take it anymore. So, you have to deal with that shit,
Yeah,
which
well-
I'm not saying guys don't, but I'm guessing not as
Well,
much.
right.
Yeah. Well, you ever have any of those $400,000
Yeah.
clients you don't want?
I'll get hit on.
March them right into my office.
Flirt with Janet all you want.
Come on. I'll play the game.
God forbid you're single.
I'll take my wedding ring off. Oh my God. No, I'm just teasing. I
Whatever
love you,
sells
Ed. Just kidding.
I want to touch on something that you made a comment about just a little bit ago, which is social media. And you said every closing you have, you put on there. You're very active
Now.
on social
Yeah,
media.
you're
Now,
good.
since I have a amazing assistant, which I still sold similar. I mean, every year a little more, but now everybody thinks I sell so much.
Yeah.
No, I just
You just put it out there.
It's
You're
just-
good about that too.
Yeah. Well, I get worried. I get in my head about it. Am I posting too much? Where I don't want people to
There
think
you go.
I'm rubbing
Yes.
it in.
So-
but then
Yes.
when I don't post, I get questions. Oh, is
You're not
work
selling
slower?
anything?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
So
like
you can't-
What
yeah.
do you do?
So I felt that too. That is it too much? Like, oh my gosh, you're selling so many houses. You must be making so much money. Then I hate to
Yeah.
hear
Right,
that.
right.
But then, I feel like I went through that and I'm like, you know what? I'd rather have that perception than not enough.
Right.
So you have to just pick a perception
Well,
you
and
want.
I think it's, they say that you kind of visually have to be seen, like, what is it? There's
yeah, 7 times or 4
something,
times or
yeah,
whatever.
before they think of you.
Yeah.
So you're putting something out there, whether it's about your, solds or your pendings,
Yeah.
or just something else, that you're doing. But I think it's important. So I think you're doing
Same
great.
thing. People trust you more because they see that you're
Yeah.
selling
Right.
so much, even though you probably were earlier too. But it's out there.
It's
so
out there.
unfortunately, you just have to do it without being arrogant about it, and that's not being arrogant without
Well, and
being
I
arrogant.
think you do it smart too, where you post maybe 4 or something, like, after the month or
Yeah.
whatever, you'll
Yeah.
post 4 or 6 or whatever. I don't know. I remember seeing that, but I think that's good because then it's you're not
Yeah.
hitting them every 3 days.
Yeah.
You're just hitting them all at once. So no, I mean,
The one good thing about social media, and I know not all realtors use social media, you just assume that if you have a friend who's looking to buy a house,
Yeah.
they'll call you.
Let's get you.
Oh.
You're doing great. You're talking right above the microphone. Yeah.
you got to tilt
You're
it.
gradually getting closer and closer to the rest
Apparently,
of us.
I'm
Yeah.
bad at.
You're fine. Nope.
Bad at You're just bad at angles, I guess. It's all good. She just angles. That's all it is. I'm good at angles.
I don't know what I was.
I know what you were about to say. So
So yeah. So, but
Look at her face.
that's because I knew.
I knew.
I was saying that sometimes when you do list a house, you'll be surprised that one of your friends who didn't even know was looking for a house text you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, you're looking? I didn't know. So that helps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially with listings, because you just don't know which person on your Instagram and Facebook is a buyer unless they come and tell us.
How
We don't
often
know.
are you guys like making calls to like just kind of doing a touch or something? I mean, they're
To who? Like,
just to
Your SOI.
Your SOI.
oh, I do a lot.
do you just to chit chat?
I touch base. I meet. I invite them. I try to meet them in person. If they're the kinds, if they're not, I'll text. I mean, I do a lot.
You do.
And I'm more in person.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
really try to get them in front of me.
Okay.
And I'll find an excuse too.
Yeah.
But the hardest part is finding time, right? It's the longer you're in the business, the longer that list of clients gets that you've worked with before. And then it's, okay, is it weird if after 5 years I just call you up and say, hey, how's it going?
It's never 5
Well,
years
it's-
for me.
but
Well, that's
take-
what I mean. But
Yeah.
it gets to be that part where I'm looking through my contact list and I'm like,
Gosh.
oh my gosh, I've luckily I've been able to do a few hundred deals in my career.
Right.
So and I'm like, oh
It's
my
a
gosh,
lot.
I forgot that I even sold that house
Yeah.
Yeah.
at one point. And I have not, this was, maybe we didn't work together very long. It was kind of one of those quick ones that people say, this is why you guys don't deserve your money. And yeah, but it's like, oh my gosh, I haven't talked to that person forever. Is it weird if
No,
I
it's
just
not.
out of the blue?
No, it's not.
I think because people like you said, you're going through a contact list, so you're seeing their name.
Yeah.
But there's times I'm driving and I'm just like, somebody will just come to my mind.
Yeah.
A client I sold a house to in 2021, so 4 years ago, right? But I'll just text them like, I've just been thinking about you.
Yeah.
How are you guys doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me a call when you have time. I just want to catch up.
Yeah.
And no, I don't. They're always like, oh my gosh, so
Yeah.
good to hear from you. And we just kind of catch up.
Yeah, no, I
and-
don't think it's ever too late. I may do it very consciously though. And you're right, it's very time consuming.
Yes.
How many clients can you meet in person every time? And that's
While
half-
still meeting new people. And
that's half
showing
of my
houses.
life, I think, is I don't think anybody can go for more coffees and drinks and dinners than I do, because I just do it. And it's a lot. Trust me, it's not easy, and I don't do 100% excellent job at it. And my client appreciation parties, I mean, I do that once a year. I do the few small ones throughout
Yeah.
the year also, but I do one big one where does everybody come? No, but that number is growing
Yeah.
every year, and it's
The
finding
invite
harder
list is definitely larger, and then
every year, and then I do the small ones. So that's the only thing I do though.
Yeah.
I don't make cold calls. I don't do that's the only thing I do. So if there is only one thing I do, I gotta do that completely. But there's nothing else I do.
Logan, are you pretty good about it?
Not as good as they should be. No,
Yeah.
probably more of a Janet style.
Yeah.
I'll drive by a house. I'm like, oh, I sold them that house. I
Yeah.
need to call them and see how the baby is, or see how Facebook. I love Facebook.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
commenting on that. And
There,
you stay,
yeah.
Yeah,
you
that
stay in
definitely keeps
contact
you
when they
in
get married
contact.
and-
Yeah. And I do try to,
Yep.
if I see them, try to Facebook friend them.
Do any of you actually like? I don't think anything expires anymore, but like, do you call for sale by owners? do we remember how like when we started? Well, I don't know when I started. Like that's the thing.
I used to do it all the time.
And you would send letters,
open house, and then
open
follow-ups
house.
of the open
Yeah.
house.
Like,
No, because like I said,
It's
I've
just
decided
referral.
that this is my thing. Those are just not my thing. So I've just decided this is my one
you're
way.
you're interacting with
So I'll all
Coffee.
that time I'll spend on this.
I
about
don't
you?
call for sale by owners unless I know them personally, and then I'll call them and say, "Hey, what are you doing?
What the heck?
Yeah.
Come on, let me sell it, dude.
Yeah, let
knock
me
it off.
sell it.
Yeah,
Knock
knock it
it
off.
off.
Let me sell it.
I will say,
Usually it
though-
works.
Yeah.
Usually when I reach out to them, they go, "Oh, I just thought I'd try it," and then I say, "Well, why don't you let me try it?" And then if I can't get you what you want, then you
you're-
try it.
Yep.
But I would say it still works. Like anybody new on the team, you encourage them to do it. Another thing that's working a lot for me is, besides open houses, is when I sell an investment property and they hire me to also rent it out.
Then you're meeting the renters.
Yes, and people on my team have met people through
Yeah.
that. So it's like open house.
Yeah,
like
no,
it's
you're-
like
it's showing-
Boomtown in person or Sync
Yeah.
in person, because now there are all these people, and they are usually not cheap rentals. They are high end rentals,
Right,
and so
right.
somebody who's willing to pay that much, and you can help them. It's a long this thing. It's hard to deal with rentals, but you get clients out of that.
Well, you mentioned open houses, Logan. When I had you on originally, that was my question: was how did you get going with your business and build that clientele? And that was your answer.
Yeah,
You
I did usually two every Sunday.
Open
Two
houses?
every Sunday.
and it's
Usually.
it's such a great way to meet
Meet
new
Yeah.
people. Yeah, it is.
What year was that?
I was
got
gonna say, you can't even
licensed
do-
September 20. So it was getting
that was
it was
the
tough.
hot.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
in 2021
Yeah.
I did them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And another thing we talked about was even if you have an open house and you get 0 clients out of it, what you do get is experience
Yeah.
in talking to people.
That was the hardest part,
Which is
getting
invaluable.
down what you say.
Yes.
Go meet
Yeah,
somebody.
right.
Instead of just opening the door. Let me know if you have
Hi.
any questions.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
I did a lot of those initially too. I think everybody does those anytime Becky would list, so I would do them, and so I think we all have done them,
Yeah.
done those, and I've gotten clients out of it. You've gotten, but
Yeah, oh,
then,
yeah.
again, I've realized that you can't do everything. Like I can't.
No.
I can't do. These are the different ways. I can't do all of the above.
Do any of you pay for leads?
Not anymore. I
I
did.
don't.
It never worked. I did last year.
Do I don't. I,
It didn't
more
work
the
for me.
team, though. I mean, I don't.
Yeah,
I
for
don't
the
know.
team.
It
the
didn't
last time
work.
I've answered one.
Diane does homes.com, and some of them are decent. I mean, they are, but the thing with homes.com is a little different. It's if you have a listing and they click and have interest
Then
in
you get
listing,
that.
then you get it. So, and Diane's very fair. Like if it's Eric's listing, then Eric's going to get those leads. I mean, he got the listing. That's how it goes.
Sure.
Unless he's not available or dual agency, not interested. But
Not
yeah.
interested.
But some people are not interested in dual
Yes.
agency, which I get it. But I don't know. I just
I
feel
paid
like
last year because I had
Zillow
a team
or-
and Boomtown.
Boomtown.
And I had the whole thing. We sold houses.
Did you?
Through it. Just not enough. So in my
I know,
opinion, it
I
was
know.
not worth it. I mean, the team was busy. If that's what you want to do, is buy it so people think they are doing something. And we sold a couple houses, which was great, but
Right.
just not enough.
A lot
not
of it's
worth
just
it.
busy work, right? Just
Yes.
Well, you're chasing people down.
So I
and
didn't
they're
do
not
it this year, and you're not
pre-approved,
doing
and you gotta start at square one, which I'm all into square one.
Yeah.
But they have no concept.
Yeah. Are
And
you having good
loyalty.
results?
We lose money on Realtor.com, but it keeps
Yeah.
them. They're selling and making money, so it's just kind of a.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't worth it. So I just think if they do, they are better off doing a lot of these rentals and open houses. Like
Right.
I feel that's working
Right.
better, less time. So no, it didn't work in short.
So let's jump into dual agency because you brought that up, and that's always I'm keeping an eye, Logan. Don't worry.
No worries.
All right,
No worries.
I'm watching the clock.
He'll fly into that meeting.
I'll let you guys go at 12:59. It ain't far away.
No,
It's
it's-
same
it's
building.
right there.
Yep. We can also wait until Mike O comes and knocks on the door.
I know.
They might.
Yeah. I mean, do you guys? I guess do you have? I mean, we all have experience in dual agency, but are you for it, against it, indifferent?
I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Why not? The only thing I tell my sellers is if I get a buyer, since I'm your agent first, they might be my buyers. And I say that to my buyers, if at any point you're uncomfortable or you feel that I'm being unfair, I want you to open your mouth and please come and tell me.
Sure.
Because I'm going to find a different agent for the other
them.
person.
Yeah.
So I just want you to be upfront and honest, because my job is to get you this house. My job is to sell the house. All our goals are the same. Sometimes it works great if there's one person in the middle. But if there's any discomfort, we'll fix it. I'm all for it. I've not had any issues with it. So I love it.
The only time I don't like it is when you put a listing on and then it's multiple offers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
that's tricky.
your person wins.
Yeah.
Because then people see it close out and they think you know,
cheated.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Even when you didn't. I mean, that's where my mind goes when I see
It's
it.
just hard, and you say,
Yeah.
and you didn't, and I get it, but you have the power,
Right.
And that's where, I mean, I don't want to do it in those situations
Right.
because I want, if you're willing to give this amount with this appraisal gap and this escalation, that's fantastic.
But I disagree. I feel even though you have the power, you know what maybe the other offers are and stuff. I have had dual agency where I've lost the offer because
I just
the
had
other
that this
agent, you know, that's all the power you have is that you know. You know, I mean, the other agent always had the choice of a better escalation, they always had that choice. And if yours is better, I can understand it's tricky. And yeah, if he did it and I was on the other side, I'm going to get very upset. But at the same time, I don't think it's his fault. I always had the chance to, because he's still presenting the offers. He might know, in my head, he might have done something, but I always had the choice of making a ridiculously high escalation, which I didn't.
Right.
And if he did, he did. If he got his buyers to pay more money,
But you're not wrong in that it's a bit of an uncomfortable situation. Okay,
Which
it's multiple
happens.
offers. It's my listing, and I'm dual agency with one of the offers.
Yeah.
And I have had that situation where I've lost. My client has lost.
my client
Plenty,
in a
like
dual-
multiple
yes.
times I've had that happen, and it literally just happened over the weekend.
yeah,
for
it
me.
recently happened to me
And
too.
Because there's a couple things to keep in mind. One, it's not really in anybody's best interest for you to cheat.
Yes.
Right.
Two, your client will only go as high as they will go, right?
Exactly.
So, especially with escalation clauses now, just to throw out hypotheticals, let's say the house is listed for 100 and it's escalated up to, 115. That's the highest one. And your client in the dual agency situation is only comfortable going 113. Then you go,
Yeah. Or cash.
well, could you beat 115? Because that's the next one. Well, they should have just done that already.
They should have done that. Doesn't
Well,
that
and
make-
that's the
or
thing,
you
like-
have a full price, the other one has a full price, and the other one is cash. What are you going to tell your client? Well, I'll take cash offer all day, even though I love my
My
clients.
client
but-
was cash and lost out to a conventional.
See, and I'm going to say that cash was king back in the and cash is
Even
always
now,
king.
yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
But really, there's not much difference in if you have an escalation. An appraisal gap.
Yeah.
So cash no appraisal, but appraisal gap of 10 to 15,000, and we know it's going to cover it. Like it's iffy.
Still, like I will always suggest we'll always suggest our client to take cash, which is what I did. I said, if I were you, I will take the cash offer, not my offer. So
Always cleaner.
Cleaner. For
But
cleaner, just done.
Also there are other circumstances, right? Like maybe the cash offer has inspections and
Yeah.
the conventional officer doesn't, or offer
Yeah,
doesn't.
then you're
And
like,
then-
I have had it though, like the situation you were saying, like I have proof of when the listing agent, put me through a lot and then ended up they accepted their own offer. And like I can prove it all day long. But
Well, just in a general sense, like never mind the multiple offer stuff, but a lot of the argument against dual agency is people always make the comparison. Well, if it's a legal battle, would it be a conflict of interest to have one attorney representing both sides.
Well, I think it depends. You have to know your clients.
Right.
I feel
Also,
that's
these
the
aren't
issue.
legal battles.
Yeah.
Right.
No, no, they're not.
It's
It's-
apples to oranges.
I mean,
it's not the same
I
thing.
have clients that I would never do a dual agency
Sure.
with. You know what I mean? So I think it's really a decision you make
Yeah.
based on, you both your clients are chill, both your clients trust you, both your clients are easygoing people. But if you think that one person is not, then I
High
might
strung,
not get.
yeah.
So I think depends.
Do you ever have sellers, when you explain it to them, say, "Man, I don't want you to do that"?
Never.
Never.
Right? Never.
Never.
I have.
Have
I-
you?
Really?
Yeah, and because I tell them, okay, so when an offer comes in, it's not just the negotiations, it's everything. It's the inspection. It's like once I'm a dual agent, my ability to advise you on what you should do gets severely limited.
Yeah.
Because you read into it, what you can and
Oh,
can't
I
do
know,
as an agent.
yeah.
It's severely limited. So it's like, oh, do you think I should take this offer? Or how do you think I should respond to this repair addendum?
Yeah.
We can't answer that in dual agency. We can go over the contract. We can say this is what it says about these things,
I
but
always question dual agency too within teams.
hey, that's tricky.
It is because
That's
you
tricky.
can see, like, certain teams and how you put things into your system. You can see other offers that have come in or even feedback. I mean, you have
Yeah.
all this information. And I'm always wondering, our team really doesn't do a lot of, we work with each other.
Right.
But I'll take the buyer if Diane has the seller or whatever. Emily Rabin strongly disagrees with dual agency. And I do worry about it a little bit. And I've never been in a legal battle, but
I feel like I'm in a dual agency when I have somebody in my team
On your
selling
team.
on
it
this.
is a dual
So
agency.
it is still
Yeah.
so you just have to treat it as that because they're just like your seller and buyer might agree or disagree on things, same thing. So I just feel like
But by definition, it's not dual
it's
agency.
That
it's
isn't,
not.
I know,
But I feel it
it's-
just you treat it the same
Right.
way. I feel almost,
Right.
and you feel like you are in one, even though you're not. So
But if we start calling that dual agency, then does that grow eventually into same office?
Well, I remember years and years ago, you guys, when you had a file that wasn't SkySlope, there was a giant thing like under the mailboxes, and it was all the files.
Yep.
And I remember opening it, and I'm like, oh, I could see all the contracts for all the pendings,
Yeah.
But I mean, that wasn't great. That was the system that was
System, yeah.
here.
Yeah.
And I didn't care, and no one ever really messed with it.
Well, there was no other way to do it.
There wasn't.
Right.
No, it wasn't under lock and key though. It was there, and you wouldn't put your alphabetical file in, and that's where you did. But yeah, no, you're right.
I'll tell you for my sanity, just for my sanity, I just don't want to know. I feel like if I get in that,
Yeah.
what is this person doing? Can I find out? Sometimes
Oh, no,
Ali
I
and
don't
I
wanna
are
know.
making offers on the same thing. I never want to know. Even if I can, I don't want to look.
No.
Because I'm like, I just want to because I feel I'll just get in that,
well,
stress.
and at the end of the day, Eric said it. You said it best. A buyer is only going to pay
what they
this
want to
much,
pay.
what they
Yeah,
wanna pay.
you
And
can know all you want and you
And
can tell them
even
all
when
you
my
want.
clients are like, "What should we do, Jana? What should we do?" And I said, "You know what? I'm going to tell you, the best advice I can give you is you're going to go on that escalation clause
Yeah.
to the number where you're not going to be sad if it goes $500 more."
Also, in today's day and age, with seller's permission, you can tell people what it is.
Yeah, yeah.
With seller's permission.
So
yeah.
it's not necessarily a guesswork for
I
any
think
of
an
us. With seller's
escalation-
permission, I might not know what offers you have because you've told me with your seller's
Yeah.
permission. So my buyer decides to go.
You guys, it's 12:58.
Okay.
So I don't know if you want to push it a little bit. You're realtors, so technically you're allowed to walk in 5 to 10 minutes
You're
late.
totally-
Yeah, for anything.
And
but
half
just
of
so
them
you
aren't
know.
here yet. So.
true.
Yeah,
You'll be
people
the
are still
first one
walking in,
sitting here.
getting their
I was going to say
coffee.
escalation.
It doesn't mean we're shutting the whole thing down, Janet. You and I still
Good,
have
we can hang
another
out.
10 minutes to fill at least.
But I think escalation clauses are, I don't put all the clout in that because it comes down to appraisal. That's
Well,
why cash is
escalation
king.
clause has to be accompanied by appraisal gaps.
Right,
Like
or it's
otherwise there's
useless.
just no point. I've had offers where I'm the second highest. I wasn't the highest, but I had a huge. So they don't, people are smart. Sellers aren't stupid. You know, they will take the second highest offer with a good appraisal gap versus a really high offer.
I just sold a house 14 months ago and in Riverton, little 2-bedroom, 1-bath. And they completely redid the home. It was bought for the mother bought it and the kids kind of redid it all, flooring, windows, everything. It was beautiful. Bought it for 140. I had like 6 or 7 offers on it. There was an offer for 180 with a $25,000 appraisal gap. And I was like, 40 grand. I mean, now they had put money in it. So, and I kind of warned my seller, I'm not certain I can get all this back. We're talking 25 to 28,000 they put in. I said, I can't guarantee, I'll do my best. And anyway, the 25, it was FHA. There was cash on the table. There was conventional on the table. And that one was FHA. But they had the cash in the bank to cover that appraisal gap. And at the end of the day, I'm like, this is your best offer.
Yeah,
In
makes
that
all the
specific
difference.
instance, it's weird that they went FHA.
Yeah,
Right.
when you have...
They had to. I mean,
Okay, yeah, then it's
Yeah.
not weird. Yeah,
yeah,
sorry.
they had to.
Yep,
I
no, that
mean,
makes sense.
Yeah.
Yep.
But they had some money that they could tap into. That's
Sure.
where the cash come from. Anyhow, it appraised at 180.
Wow.
Yeah.
$40,000 more than they bought it. Now, it was just cosmetic things that were done
Yeah,
on the
but I
interior.
think it's happening a lot.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
$40,000,
absolutely.
$50,000 over is for $180,000.
I just was like,
it's happening.
oh, but yeah.
So
This was cleaner than I thought.
you only swore one time, so that was good.
Did I?
Stop it.
You'll hear it when you listen back.
It wasn't bad.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
I caught it though, and I'm like, can we blurb that out?
This is not FCC regulated. This is just on the internet. So technically, we can say whatever we want. You are your own brand, so you say
That's
whatever
right.
you want.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you guys, it's up to you. It's 1
Well, my
o'clock right now.
parting words to you
If
is
you guys want to go, Janet and I will finish up, or you can stay. Whatever
thank you
want.
for doing this, and
Well, of course.
always fun and always great to hear your side of the story, especially and the others. But you know, since
Yeah,
you're
it's-
always on the
It is nice.
interviewer,
Yeah, this is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel like
I
we need to
love doing
interview
this.
you next time.
I did.
Casey
you
already
did?
did that.
I
one.
did.
Really?
Did you
I
not
didn't
watch
see
that?
that one.
Yeah, that was the New Year episode.
I
Was it
didn't
the
see
New
that
Year's?
one.
Something like that.
Yeah. I'm like, you interview everybody else. Somebody needs to do that to you. So that was
Yeah.
very fun.
Yeah, it's and I'm not now. You already know the name. It's plastered on the wall. But
I came here the first time I interviewed me. It was newer. I was like, what is this thing called? Like,
I made her actually host the show. She said, "Welcome to Real Estate Superstars?" Question mark.
something, whatever this is called.
Oh, know what you named it.
Didn't do my homework. Real estate for reals, people.
Yeah.
For real.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah. No, thank
Yeah,
you,
thank
and
you.
have fun at your team lead meeting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a hoot.
A good
I'm
time.
eager to hear
Now
how that
I'm
goes.
scared for you, but
Oh, we're gonna have fun.
oh,
in our
Janet
heads.
will hold her own.
No,
I'll
no,
hold my own.
we'll be
I
fine.
love you
See
guys.
Yeah, there you go.
Bye,
See you
team
later.
leads.
Talk to you soon, Janet.
Hello, Eric.
God, that was fun, right?
Yes, no, I love this. I love watching these. I love like just the interactions. And that is, we were talking about it yesterday a little bit at lunch, but it is so much about relationships.
Yeah.
And that is, you know, when I meet new agents, you know, they're like, so tell me something like that's made you successful, that's made you, you know, really love this. And I said, my clients, because I'm going to say it because I do love my clients.
Yes.
I truly feel like I'm not working because I love this so much.
Yeah.
But it is the relationships with you guys. I mean, it's
cool, right? Yeah, I love it, yeah.
Just, it feels so good. And when there's a bad juju between us, it's hard. It's hard on me because I'm like, this shouldn't be this way. We all have the same goal to get to the closing table. Some people want to sabotage, but for the most part, we are all wonderful together. But no, I love it.
There are so many agents.
So many agents.
I didn't realize until we were at that lunch yesterday when I said, how many agents do we even
Did you
have?
say seven?
750 approximately
That's
that are part of
amazing.
our association here at the capital area. And that blew my mind. In my head, and it's been this way for years, I've just always thought there were about 500, which is always what I've said. I think we've got like 500 agents
Right,
around
right.
here. 750 is a lot.
But it goes back, Eric. The top 20% are going to do 80% of the business.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. And I have respect for all of the agents that are and the other 80%.
Just trying to grind it.
Just
Yeah,
trying to
it's-
grind it out.
yeah.
I get it. But there's ones that are really great. And, and some that are just like more of a hobby, which it's
Sure.
expensive. I don't know how they afford it. But that is true.
Well,
there are a
and-
lot of us.
I mean, stars kind of have to align to have success in real estate. There are people out there who have the full knowledge
Oh,
and
yeah.
are great with people, but still it's not clicking. Maybe they don't have the network. They don't have that. I mean, it's so much of this when we get going is who you know.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because I've had girlfriends and friends of mine that I went to high school with,
Yeah.
right? And their
Yeah, I was
kids,
there.
right? We were all there, right? And they're starting to buy homes, and their kids are buying homes. They're going with Logan Frazier. I mean, they went to high school with Logan
Yeah.
Frazier.
Yeah.
Of course, it all makes sense. And I want Logan to win. I'm like, absolutely, great agent. Definitely go with him. If you have any questions, always give me a call.
Sure.
But Logan's phenomenal. But it is kind of funny, like your sphere, you kind of get excited because you see the kids kind of growing up and things happening. But their friends are agents, so
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's cool. Like that's something. It's relatively new in the industry. Is the age of realtors is getting younger?
right,
and
it is
younger,
getting younger.
which is, I mean, it's good for the industry. I think it's
Oh, I do
injecting a
too.
lot of like fresh ideas and a whole new. I mean, there has to be more behind us. It can't, what I
Right,
mean?
right,
There's
right.
going to be-
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
but it's also a little bit when you start people that have younger people getting in the market, you're like, all right, well, have them call me. Like, well, actually,
Actually, they've already got an agent. Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's like, okay, I get it. No, that's fine.
I know.
So I've got something on the list that I want. So that I ask AI for ideas, right?
Yeah.
I always have some on my own.
Okay.
And then I ask for some more. And one of them it gave me today that I thought was interesting. It was said, well, you guys can discuss letters from buyers to sellers, right? The love letters,
The love letters.
right? So we've all encountered them.
Yep.
If you're listing a house and there's multiple offers and the buyer's agent sends over a letter from their buyer to your seller, what do you do with it?
Attach that bad boy on.
Do you?
Always, yeah. If they took the time to write it, it's heartfelt. That's their story, and they want their story heard.
Sure.
I feel like, and at the end of the day, sometimes, and I've had one where the letter won, and I'm like, you have more money over here, but they really didn't want an investor to own the home.
Yeah.
They wanted someone that was going to raise their kids and do the updates that needed, and they did not want an investor. So they ultimately picked that. I feel like I always bring everything to the table, and now I've also had them where like it didn't work for the buyers that wrote them. But you don't like them?
No, well, no, and I'll tell you why. Because I never want anything to come back, and to me, it's a fair housing thing.
Do you think that?
Well, one of the discriminatory things is familial
Familial
status.
status.
And so if you have somebody saying, hey, we're your traditional family, it's us, it's our 3 kids, we want to raise them in your house, and then their competition is maybe a single person
Right.
or a couple that can't have kids or something like that.
True.
And then it's these people are raising their family here, so I'm choosing them over these other, and you basing that's familial status.
I mean, I see what you're saying.
So
yeah.
I don't submit them. I don't. And if a buyer's agent sends me a letter, I say I appreciate it, but interest of fairness, my seller's just going to look at the offers here.
Okay. Well, note to self: don't waste my energy.
Yeah,
on
it's
you.
you got it. It's you
I
don't
see
think of it like that.
I
but
know. I know.
for the people who lose out on those houses, like if they come back, I mean, they might have some grounds. I'm just a realtor. I'm not an attorney, but to me, that's scary stuff. Of if somebody does have an axe to grind and come back,
It could come back.
I wrote a better offer. I didn't get this house because they have kids and I don't. That's it, right?
I mean, I see that.
Yeah.
I guess I just have never put that in play with, and like I said, that isn't, well, I mean, maybe that is
It's just-
part of it for them picking the offer.
Right. So it's like,
All
hey,
right.
let's just look at the offers, right?
look at
Let's
the
just look at the
offers.
offers. But I think it's human curiosity, the same way that every buyer wants to know, why are they selling? Where are they
But,
going?
oh, they always ask.
Every seller wants to know, who are these people
Right.
that want my house? Do they have kids? Are they married? Is
Yeah.
there somebody,
Yeah.
it's, you want to know who's on the other side of that transaction. And so what I do is I say, you've got the contract, you see the name,
Do your research.
find out whatever you want to find out.
Right.
Like it's the internet's out there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, back in the day, we wouldn't have
There
known,
you
but now
go.
we can. Now, when someone asks, like, hey, what's going on? Like, hey, my buyers are just wondering, why are the sellers selling?
Yeah.
Do you give them the info?
Well, I mean, it depends on like what it is, right? Because if it's anything that would compromise their
Like
negotiation,
a divorce or
yeah,
something.
if it's
that
like
would,
illness, they're just in a desperate way, they need to get out of
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
Then you're giving up some of their negotiating power.
Right.
But if it's they want to move, they want something bigger, they want to downsize, like
It's funny because of the market and how insane our market has been for the last 4 or 5 years. I mean, it started in 2020, and it's just the lack of inventory that we are experiencing and
Yeah.
all the things that hasn't really come into play. I just was cleaning out. I just did hardwood floors in our house and our bedroom stuff, and I was cleaning out all these drawers. I found a listing sheet from 2004.
wow.
Yeah, it was old school, and it was a house in Lake Town, and it
Okay.
was like 68,000. Of course, that would go for 178 now. That
course.
same house, but it was on the market for 238 days. Isn't that insane?
Yeah.
And I was like, things just weren't selling back then.
Wow.
But back then, that's when, you would just try to, give a lowball offer with a letter.
Yeah.
Those kind of things. And now it's multiple offers and see me, see me, see me. I kind of quit doing the letters or asking my people if they want to write one, that's on them.
Right.
But
Most sellers these days, anyway,
they're in for the dollars.
I mean,
They can be.
that's what I would be too
Yeah,
if I were selling.
They're got 5, 6, 7 offers in
Yeah.
front of them. I mean, we got to get that bottom dollar.
And most of them, I mean, you think about it, most of them go from being sellers to being what?
buyers.
Buyers.
Yeah.
And then so now they're jumping right into that hyper competitive
Yeah.
market where they need to bring as much money to the table as possible. So it would only make sense for them to get as much from the sale of their house.
Yeah. No, definitely.
So it's a crazy world out there right now.
It is.
Are we starting to get a little more balance? Is
You mean as far as
is it coming back down?
inventory
Is it coming
and-
back down to earth? I mean, a little bit. I don't know how long it'll be until we get to the days of 200 days on market,
I
low
don't
ball
know.
offers. But
Low balls.
like low ball offers now, it's like house has been on the market 21 days. Here we come.
Here
we're
we
gonna
come.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's
we're gonna
exciting.
beat this seller up. Yeah,
I had
3 weeks.
I had a buyer call me and they're like, Jan, we're interested in this house. And they've been looking for a while. And like, it's been on the market for 16 days.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'm going to go with, hold on, let me look into this. It was coming soon.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yes.
like, yeah, it just hit the market this morning. No, it's just hit the market.
Yeah.
That coming soon gives the days on the market that they see that now on Zillow and stuff.
That can be confusing.
It can
for
be.
people.
It can be.
And then there's, I mean, do you do a lot of coming soons?
It just depends on how ready they are.
Yeah.
When I'm talking to them, I like the hype, but I think the hype is only good for about maybe 4 to 6 days.
Yeah.
And I don't like taking things live on Fridays. So I'm always like, let's go coming soon over the weekend. We'll go live on Monday.
Okay.
Kyle Killebrew he has a whole master plan of
I'm
the
sure he does.
days of when you put it on the market. It's like Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday morning or something. He's got something. But I always try to think about that.
Yeah.
It's just like a house hit the market Friday of Memorial Day. And I was like, oh, a lot of people are traveling. You're missing a lot of buyer pool.
Yeah.
Of course, it sold with 6 offers.
Yeah, so,
You know, I don't know what I'm doing.
There's
It's
still a
fair.
buyer pool out
Still
there.
a
Yeah,
buyer-
we're all just
Yeah,
flailing
we are
around trying to
flailing.
figure this out.
Yeah, I think it's leveling out a little bit, but not to the point where you got to jump.
You do.
There's
Maybe we
no-
don't have 25 offers anymore, but we still have like 7 or 8,
Yeah.
which
But,
is still
like,
crazy.
But when I was the house that, I last sold that had multiple offers, when I'm showing it, there was 6 other agents from the 35 minutes I was in the house that had come in and left and was around. And, we're all very friendly. We're all
Yeah.
just doing our thing. But I have to coach my clients that don't talk, no expressions, no. Just you guys are just looking at the house because you can't get too excited. These other agents are watching you, like they're knowing where their competition is,
Yeah.
So
I always say things like, "You smell that?"
oh,
Like,
I
this
know
is-
termites. I see
Ugh.
termites. Yeah,
So those bugs were bad, right? Those are bad bugs. That's not what you want.
You don't
those
want
bugs.
that.
Yeah. I don't know if that's
So-
mold. We'll get it tested.
we'll get it tested.
Yeah.
Yeah, mold is never good, but no, it is. I think eventually it's going to level out. But
Well, it's got
probably.
to, right? Eventually, but it's.
I mean, it has to. It has to. But it's going to be different because we've
Yeah.
been doing this for a while this way.
Yeah. It's weird to think that it's been like pretty much 5 years
Yeah.
of low inventory, seller's market, people paying way more than asking.
Yeah.
Like at some point. And I mean, I know everybody, I'm sure you get it too. Oh, you probably love this. I'm rooting for some balance here.
Some balance too.
Yeah, I do just fine in a balanced market. I work with just as many buyers as sellers.
Yeah.
And so, and what people don't understand is that balance will give us more houses on them. Like, there are sellers who are scared to list their house
Because they don't know where to go.
because they don't have anywhere to go.
Yeah. I just did a deal where kind of, I always do. I mean, when I have a buyer that's renting, but in a month-to-month situation
Right.
where they don't have to sell to buy or whatever, but I always leave that closing date. That's completely flexible. We are ready to give that seller as much time as needed.
Flexible closing dates are so key.
Yeah.
Like if your agent's out there writing offers, everybody thinks that the quicker the close, the better.
No.
Not always, right?
You need to have that conversation with the listing agent.
Yes.
And if not, then you need to just open that flexibility up.
Yeah.
And that is also, I think, what won us. I mean, we had a great offer, but they needed that flexibility because they didn't have a home, and they're going to be contingent on the close of their home, and
A lot of strings
a
attached.
lot of dominoes
Yeah.
got to fall
Yep.
there. So,
Understand. All right, I got to go show houses.
Yeah. All right.
So
Yes.
we should wrap this up, I
Let's
guess.
do it. Well, thank you.
How did
so
you like
much.
it?
I loved it. I want to come back. I loved it. Of course, I love them and I love you. And talking real estate.
It's so much
It's
fun.
what I love.
Yeah, it's me too.
And I love your TikTok. So I just wanted to kind of,
I have so much fun
Yes.
with those. It takes zero intelligence to be an internet troll.
right.
So for me, I just have fun with it.
You have to.
because I'll pull up to to show a house and I'll be like, oh, I'm 5 minutes early. My clients aren't here yet. I'll just respond to this idiot on TikTok.
Just have that conversation.
and it's what I mean. And
Yeah.
and I should probably be more professional. I don't care though. I'm not out there. I'm not on TikTok to sell houses.
No.
There's not.
But the information you're giving, because I always watch your TikToks,
Yeah.
it is solid information. It's real.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's why this is real. This is really us.
Yeah.
But your TikToks are very real. And I'm like, great advice. Like,
That's what I try. That's what I try to put out there.
Yeah.
There's some goofy ones in there too, but I
Yeah.
try to just give. I mean, it's just my experiences. I don't know it all, but these are my experiences. This is how I've handled it. This is stuff that I see recurring. Buyers or sellers maybe are thinking this, and here's the reality from
Right,
what I've
right.
seen. And I just try to be helpful for anybody. I mean, everybody has an interest in real estate.
well, that's yeah,
Right?
absolutely
So
they do.
I try to help. I'm just trying to help.
No, I love
And
it.
then I'm a magnet for the trolls, and that's okay. I don't mind that either. That's fun for me. So
Thank you, everyone.
Janet,
This was fun.
thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Here's the music. All right, and Thank you to Keiki and Logan too. They had to take
Our
off.
little team leaders.
That was great. I'm sure everybody was like, "What's going on in there? It's awfully loud." All right, Janet, I will talk to you later.
All right. Thank you so much.